properly engage in difficult conversations?
The reason why people don't confront those difficult conversations is because they're afraid of hurting the other person. And what they don't realize is that they're hurting four people by not having the conversation. First off, is they're hurting all the rest of their team members because everybody sees how this person is screwing up. It is no secret. Everything is transparent, whether you're transparent about it or not. And they see that you're not stepping up as a leader, that you're not addressing it, that you're tolerating this behavior or lack of performance. So to not have the difficult conversation, you're hurting the other team members. Second is you're hurting your clients and those people that you serve because you're tolerating this poor performance and it's become a drag on the organization. So you're hurting them. Third is you are hurting that person. They probably don't know that they're screwing up. Or you're not giving them the sincere, caring interest to communicate personally and directly to them about how they need to improve. A lot of leaders just get to a certain point where they just let them go, and that person's surprised. They're surprised because they never knew that they were screwing up because the leader didn't have the courage to have those candid conversations along the way, as they should. They just let it build up, and then all of a sudden they just let them go, and the person is surprised. Put it this way, if a person that you let go is ever surprised, then you failed as a leader. There should have been many conversations along the way that made it very clear what they were and were not doing and what needed to be done to address it and what the timeline and expectation of having it addressed would be. And so if you get to that timeline and it's not addressed, then it's super obvious to everybody involved what happens next. Nobody is surprised. The fourth person that you're hurting is yourself. How many times do you go home at night thinking about this person? Wake up in the morning thinking about this person. It's having an effect on your ability to be present with your family. It's taking CPU time in your head, in your psychological body by not having and engaging in this difficult conversation. So now there's an art form to engaging in these difficult conversations so that people feel empowered and inspired after the difficult conversation and not dismissed or diminished. So a quick framework, and I would encourage people to go become a part of the hero's journey. We talk a lot about all these people skills that are necessary to communicate effectively, persuasively, influentially as a leader in the 21st century. But quickly is, first off, there's a three-part framework. You can address it in first person, third person, or just direct on the head, the headbutt. So you is where you're claiming, let the first non-sinner cast the first stone. You're confess your own sins. I remember when I was in a situation very similar to yours where I really screwed up and I let people down and it cost the organization and it cost the reputation of the company and I really saw how that had damaging effects. So I know what you're feeling. I know what you're going through, and I've seen how this turns out. So you confess your own sins, and then you address the behavior that you're seeing that they need to take a look at. The second approach is using third person. It's like I knew this gal who was a superstar on a team that I was a part of back when, and they started to make this mistake. They didn't realize that this mistake was occurring, but it really cost them reputation, cost them relationships with their team members, all unbeknownst to them until it was too late, until the damage was irreparable. And I kind of see that situation happening here. And that's what I want to talk to you about. So you're using third person to help them save a little face. The third is just the direct approach. Sometimes the best approach is the direct approach, but you've got to save that. It's like a mom who's always screaming at her kids for everything all the time. And then all of a sudden the kid wanders into the street and mom screams and the kid doesn't react because why? Mom's always screaming. So sometimes you got to save the direct approach for when you really need to shake somebody by the shoulders. And so that is tools of last resort, as Jim Rohn would say. So you start first person or you use third person, and you make sure that you transmute the intent. The intent is to make the team better, to help them become better, to build greater and better relationships with the team. And when they understand that that's the intent you're coming from, those difficult conversations aren't that difficult. And they end up becoming defining moments in your relationship with that person and their relationship with the organization. They'll look back as maybe some of the most important and the moments that they are most fond of if you do it right. as a leader. If you do it wrong, it could be the last conversation you have, and it would be your fault as a leader.
Be the exception.